a day, and yes, we're going to do it again tomorrow. Good evening, everyone. I'm Eric Wilhelm here with Weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to geek out to some interesting stuff this evening. We got lots to talk about, even though the weather remains very, very quiet. Still, there's no shortage of fun things to discuss. Maybe not so fun, how dry the air and the ground is right now. And that has prompted, of course, some advisories to be put out about burning things outdoors, burning leaves, open flames, that kind of thing. Here in the early evening hours, the relative humidity at the airport, 32%, bottoming out earlier today in the upper 20s to around 30. Now, the Weather Service office in Pittsburgh did issue a fire weather warning, or red flag warning, for all of their counties in Pennsylvania. Now, the threat does not magically stop at the Ohio border, that is for sure. This is all just technical stuff. You need to treat this the same whether you're in the fire weather warning or not. Basically, their rationale behind not adding more counties to this in the Panhandle of West Virginia and eastern Ohio, the ground may be just a little bit wetter there, a little less wind there, and relative humidity values perhaps just a little bit higher in those locations. But we're splitting hairs here. This is not the kind of pattern that you want to take the threat for perhaps brush fires lightly, because we've seen several across the region over the last couple of days, and we're going to have another pretty dry day, although less breezy, coming up on Thursday. Lots going on in this graphic. Relative humidity values, climatologically speaking, and what we've seen this year, the blue squiggly lines right here, that's this year. The red line down here at the bottom, this is what I want to draw your attention to. This is the line that traces the frequency in which we have relative humidity values at or less than 30%. You can see that the number of days in which that occurs actually kind of peaks at this time of year. So a day like today or a pattern like this is not that unusual for April. Typically, we don't see very high dew points at this time of the year. It can get pretty warm at this time of the year, and depending on what the rain situation has been of late, the ground can remain pretty dry with lots of tinder, lots of still, dead leaves and vegetation sitting around before spring really goes full bloom and everything just turns emerald green. It's been kind of a dry start to the month of April, not remarkably so, but most of our TV viewing area a little bit behind average in terms of total rainfall over the last 14 days. Rainfall a little more plentiful just off to our west, out towards Canton and Akron as well. All right, what a view today from 486 miles above our head. This is the high-resolution MODIS satellite imagery. This is a geostationary satellite that takes a picture of our region every day. Sometimes there's not much to show because of clouds, but on a crystal clear day like today, I like to show this. One question I get sometimes is, why does Lake Erie look so much different than some of the other Great Lakes, including Ontario and Huron? Well, Lake Erie is the shallowest Great Lake, and therefore it's more prone to sediment being stirred up, and more visible sediment than the other more, kind of deep Great Lakes or deeper Great Lakes. That's why it looks a little bit different. All right, crystal clear out there this evening. Check out a couple of planets in the sky. Now, Mercury is about as high in the sky as it gets. Never very high, but usually it's just kind of hugging the horizon. It's a little bit higher than the horizon for a couple of hours after sunset, or an hour or so after sunset this evening. It'll disappear just after 9:30. Easier to see Venus and Mars crystal clear in the western sky before 11:15 for Venus and before 2 a.m. for Mars. Jupiter, too close to the sun in the evening, not visible anymore for a little while here in the springtime. Saturn is more of a morning planet at this time of the year, visible just before daybreak after 5 a.m., and the moon will rise after midnight tonight on its way to becoming a new moon coming up in just a handful of days. Not a cloud in the sky for most of our Thursday. We're going to have another couple of days like this. Record challenging warmth on Thursday. The record is 81. Probably tie it or break it by the end of the afternoon. Finally, some changes to talk about as we head into the upcoming weekend. This kind of strange low-pressure system, it's probably not going to be any sort of official tropical entity, but it's a system that originated over the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just going to kind of meander around the south for a couple of days. It'll come far enough to the north finally by Friday to give us some clouds by the end of the day, and maybe a shower or a thunderstorm will be around on Saturday, but I'm not expecting much on Saturday. The higher rain chances come our way Sunday with the approach of this cold front out here. It'll bring us, it looks like, showers and thunderstorms by Sunday afternoon. The progress of that front looks a little slower on the modeling today than it did yesterday and the day before, so we no longer think temperatures are likely to fall sharply for much of the afternoon Sunday. It'll probably wait until the evening before temperatures crash. And the later in the day arrival of showers and storms means maybe we have a higher chance of seeing some gusty winds with those storms. I'm not seeing the kind of setup that we have had over the last few weeks with our wind events. The wind shear and the wind speeds above our head will not be nearly as strong, but still, some gusty storms will be a possibility Sunday afternoon, so keep that in mind. All right, let's check out the longer range for just a moment this evening. What we're going to show you this evening is one set of modeling here. This is what we call the European Ensemble. These are temperature anomalies as we go forward. We're going to be above the average, of course, through the upcoming weekend, and then here comes the crash by Sunday night into Monday. A below average day coming our way Monday. Be hard-pressed to see 50 or so Monday. Same idea Tuesday. About 10 degrees cooler than the average by Tuesday afternoon. Then the air mass will moderate by Wednesday. This is next Wednesday. Next Thursday, we're a few degrees above average. This will translate into highs in the 60s, maybe 70 during the second half of next week. Not as warm as this week, but still not nearly as chilly as the start of the week. Beyond that, there is pretty consistent modeling as we go into the last third of April for a cool pattern to emerge. This is Saturday the 22nd, Sunday the 23rd. Now, that being said, a lot of the modeling has been doing head fakes with us in the longer range over the last month, or several months really, where on weeks 2 and 3 it shows cold, but as you get closer to those dates, the cold backs off on the modeling. Will that be the case this time around? Maybe, maybe not. Not real sure on that, but the modeling is pretty consistent in showing some cool right now during that last third of April, which might erase some of the surplus values, if you will, in the temperature anomaly department that we've racked up so far this month. That is a question that is still out there. Don't have high confidence in the solution or the right answer to that question right now, but just showing you what some of the modeling is advertising for that last third of April. In the meantime, hope you have a great Wednesday night. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let's do it again. Let's geek out. Same time, same place on Thursday.